Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well and I hope that you have a wonderful day. I'm here to do an intuitive card reading to see what messages, guidance, and insights the universe wants to give us at this time, especially since a lot of people's emotions are reaching boiling points. People are getting triggered. There's been accusations, there's division, there's hatred, there's lashing out, like all these things. And the energies coming in is that the universe really wants us to take a chill pill, to cool our heads, to remember to breathe, and to maybe pause before we go and say or do something. But let's take a look at the cards and see what specific messages the universe wants us to know about this. So we have emotions are running high, supermoon, and I have noticed this a lot. Whether that be the people I come across in my personal everyday life or just what I'm observing from society at large. Like, there are people who are going on and saying that those that died and drowned due to all the flooding in Texas deserved it. And it's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then one of the boys that I babysit and I tutor and I help out with their dogs, he's been going around and accusing old men of being pedophiles. He doesn't know these people, but I've been trying to help his parents get to the bottom of it because he's never done this before. And when I was talking to him today, he was going on about how he cannot stand Biden. He thinks Biden was a fool. He's going about how he was a creepy old man who's smelling children, and he's obviously a pedophile, this, that, and the other. And he somehow got it in his brain that all old people are like that, specifically old men. And so he's going around accusing all these people that he has never met. And we're trying to get him to pause and to reflect, because what I did with him, since obviously his emotions are running high because he's upset about this and the other and things going on in the world. But I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're telling me that all old people like this? Okay, you know your grandparents. Are they like that? And he's like, well, no. And he just kept going on about how old Biden was. And, that's true. Biden was old. And I'm not going to get into politics and all that. People are entitled to their opinions. But, he is he has feelings and they are intense about Biden. And I also pointed out to him, I was like, hey, Trump's old too. Do you think Trump's like that? Well, no, I'm a big Trump supporter and I love him and he's cool and all these things. And I'm like, okay, well, then that not all old people are like that. You don't go around accusing people of that, because that's slander, that's defamation, it's wrong. You can cause all these issues. If someone believes you. Because another thing I've noticed is that there are people spreading lies about some of the influencers out there. One of them happens to be Jewish, and so they're going on and now this influencer's getting all this hate and death wishes and all that because people believe the lie. So I was explaining it to him, it's hey, your actions and words have consequence. They hold weight. They can have a huge impact. You don't want to be throwing them around all willy-nilly. You say or do the wrong thing to the wrong person, it could ruin their lives. And also, with how emotionally volatile people are right now, that could be the last thing, the last straw. They get triggered and they fight you, or worse, and you could end up in jail, you could end up sued. You don't want to be doing this. And I just keep seeing all this division and hate and slander and defamation everywhere, and everyone's just being so nasty to one another. It's whoa, now. You're allowed to feel however you feel. Because he kept going on, it's I didn't like those people. It's you don't have to like them. You don't have to like anybody. You're allowed to your feelings. You're allowed to like who you like what you like. You can have your preferences. That does not give you a free pass to act out. Does not give you a free pass to accuse other people of horrible things. You need to use your discernment. You need to actually, if you're gonna say stuff like that, there needs to be actual proof. Don't just go around saying that just to say that. Like, especially when you don't know people. Like, no, that's not okay. And, like, all these things are coming to a boil, and I'm just like, it's getting so turbulent. And, honestly, I've been doing pretty decent. Been focusing on my inner peace and weathering these storms because I'm like, oh boy. It does get very tiring, though, because a lot of people are not handling it well. Like my family, they blow up. Their emotions are running so high, and it's like, can we take a chill pill, please? Please and thank you. Like, why are we saying all these horrible things? Like, my sister, for instance, and like one of my aunts have gone on about how all men are evil and they suck and they're abusive and they're monsters and this, that, and the other. And I recognize that there are some awful men out there. I've been hurt by a number of them. But I also acknowledge that there are good men out there. And I also acknowledge that there are hurtful, bad, manipulative, scheming, all these things, women out there. It goes both ways. Because people are people. They choose how they show up in this world. They can choose to be, kind and loving and supportive and respectful and peaceful, coming from a place of positivity, or they can choose to be negative, and they can choose to be hurtful and to scheme and be manipulative and coercive and deceptive and all these things. It's not, specific to any one group, any one age, any one gender, any one, like, ethnicity. Like, anyone can choose it. Anybody. And sometimes it's on the day. So, we got to be careful with that, because there are natural consequences to our actions. When we get in that heat of the moment and we say and do things we don't actually mean, but we're just so caught up in our emotions, we can be digging our own hole. And, thankfully, I'm glad that, like, his parents and I have been trying to catch him and help save him before he gets into a deep, deep hole, because I tried to do that with my brother. As my family just kept enabling his bad behaviors, and everyone just kept telling me I was ruining things, and he would end up in jail multiple times. He'd end up in the wrong crowds multiple times. He ended up, getting super drunk and doing drugs and, like, being homeless and stealing and all these things. And it's like, I tried, and it's like, hey, but when the quote-unquote adult figures in the picture are just enabling things and everyone else is enabling, it's like, you get told you're the problem because you're rocking the boat, and you're quote-unquote ruining things and causing problems because you're identifying them and making people uncomfortable and they don't want to look at it. And so it's like, yeah, we really need to start looking at things. We really need to start having that introspection. We need to have that reflection, that self-awareness. We need to look at and process our feelings, even when they're really uncomfortable. I'm there with you. I'm human. I've had some high emotions and, like, strong, intense, like, big wave emotions, and, like, there's been loneliness, there's been sadness, there's been grief, there's been, longing for what could have been. Like, I'm there with you. But if we try to sidestep them, if we try to bury them, if we try to sweep them on the rug, if we try to act like they're not there, putting our heads in the sand, going la la la, it's just going to get worse, guys. Emotions are running high, and we need to deal with them. Because obviously society's ways of quote-unquote handling emotions by acting like everything's fine isn't cutting it. And, telling people they're bad for feeling ways is like, that's not going to cut it either. It's wrong to make some of the choices that people are making, but that doesn't mean their feelings are inherently wrong. Like, people need support instead of judgment and, like, ridicule just for having feelings. It's different than acting on it. Like, the narcissist I escaped from would tell me I was chasing sadness if I ever felt even the smallest bit of sadness, and tell me I was bad for it. And it's like, whoa, sadness, like all the other human emotions, are a natural part of the human journey, a natural part of the human experience. I'm not chasing it. And then he'd be like, oh, well, good, then nobody's sad. I'm like, no, I'm still sad. I'm just not chasing it. And like I tried to explain to him, and he just kept going on about how it's bad. I need to stop chasing sadness, and that, I need to get so much help, and this, that, and the other. I'm broken. I'm like so dysfunctional. It's like, I look at other people around me, I'm like, I don't know. I have a lot of introspection. I try to process my emotions. I try not to lash out at other people. I don't know if I'm the one that needs the help. Granted, I do need help because I'm human and everyone needs help. We all have areas of weakness and areas for growth and our struggles. But I was like, when it comes to that, I'm like, oh no. I don't know. It's just, things are definitely turbulent. Yeah, speaking of turbulence, a fiery climax approaches, full moon in Aries. And it feels like this fiery climax is approaching because people are dealing with in terms of processing and healthily managing their emotions. They're letting things just build pressure by ignoring them, pushing them aside, and the pressure keeps building and building and building and building until you snap. Because that happens with my family all the time, where it's not even anything big, and you could just be sitting in a room existing, not being loud, not in the way, just minding your business, and then they start screaming at you because you exist, and it's just like, come on now. Don't make this about me. Don't throw your internal hot mess at me and say, you're the problem, you did. It's like, you didn't deal with your emotions, you didn't process, you didn't handle things, you kept ignoring them. That's not my fault. Not in like a mean way. Like, it sucks that you're feeling so much and you have such strong emotions and it's not fun. I get that. But don't lash out at me because of it and act like I'm the problem. Don't scapegoat me. Don't point fingers at me. And things are definitely heating up. Just from things that I'm observing from, again, people in my personal everyday life and the world at large. People are getting upset about things like with the Epstein files, and there's a lot of things going on. It's getting real fiery out there. And the thing is, as a double fire sign myself, as a Sagittarius sun sign and a Leo moon sign, fire, it can be very loving. It can be very warm. It can be very gentle and life-giving and just beautiful. But if you disrespect fire, if you play with it and just don't take it seriously and you just think everything's a big joke, that's how the wildfires happen, and it goes into an inferno blaze. Like, you guys, we don't want to be playing with fire. We don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be disrespecting fire because that's how people get burned. That's like my brothers would play with fire and they'd set things on fire all the time. They set a grill cover on fire and then hid it under the porch, acting like no one would notice it was gone. Of course my parents found out. Or the time, my brother and my sister decided to play with the fire my dad was doing while he took my youngest brother to the hospital because, of course, my youngest brother was playing with knives and cut himself like he usually does. But they decided to play with it, and they set the yard on fire, and then they were trying to put it out with, water guns, and it's like, come on now. We don't need to play with this. We don't need to play with fire. Let's just cool things down, remember to breathe, maybe get in some contact with water. Water will put out the fire, Waters are very purifying and soothing, and so, it can help our emotions flow too. Can help wash us and purify us, Look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius, and I don't feel like a lot of people do. They get so caught up in the day-to-day, and mind you, I don't blame them for doing that. I've done that plenty of times because so many of us are in struggle survival mode where we're just like grinding away and we don't have the time, the energy, the attention, like we don't have it because we're so tired and just like constantly trying to make ends meet. So it's like, I get it. It's hard. Like, I've been working on trying to open up more ways of income. I've been working on coloring sheets and books and guides and oracle cards. Like, I'm trying things. We'll see how it goes. But we don't want to get so caught up in the little things that we can't see how it happens big picture, because the universe is weaving a tapestry. And if we get so fixated on a single thread, we'll never see the big picture. We'll never see what life is weaving. That doesn't mean we disregard this individual threads. But we need to start getting mindful. We need to start looking at, like, for instance, if we're not tending to our emotions, if we're sidestepping them and pretending they're not there, sweeping them under the rug, trying to bury them and be like, nope, everything's good, slap on a happy face. Yeah, the big picture is that's going to come back to bite you. It's what I was talking about with my best friend. We were talking about how, it really doesn't do us any good when we just, sidestep and act like they're not there, because then it just comes back bigger and stronger and does not like being ignored. Yeah. Meditate and contemplate. New moon in Pisces. That's the thing. Like, we need to do the inner work, the shadow work, the healing work, whatever you want to call it. We need to go inward and tend to the internal world, our internal realm, our inner foundation. We need to tend to our emotions. We need to have that introspection, that reflection, that self-awareness. Because so many people, I kid you not, most people I've come across, not saying everybody, but most people are running away from themselves. They're running away from their emotions. They're trying to cover them up, with all this materialistic goods, all these unhealthy coping mechanisms like gambling and alcoholism and being a workaholic and, being a shopaholic and all these things. They're looking to fill that void to avoid their internal world with all this external stuff. So, yeah, they'll even, they can't stand the silence. They'll have to have things going at all times. They have to have music in the background or shows or whatever. Have a Netflix playing. Like, they don't want to be alone with themselves. And I get it. It can be hard being alone with yourself. When you, have to sit there with yourself and see the truth of how you're feeling. The truth of, your flaws, your areas for growth. Granted, when you're sitting alone with yourself and being in the silence and processing and going inward, you can also see your strengths. You can also get clarity about, why certain things happened in hindsight and be like, oh, if I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't have been prepared for that in my life and this and that and the other. So, it's really important for us to go inward, to reflect, to meditate, to contemplate, to journal, to go to therapy, whatever it is that will help us connect with our internal world, because as above, so below, as within, so without, your internal world will be mirrored back to you in the external. So if your internal world is a chaotic hot mess and you're not processing your emotions and you're letting things go all chaotic, it's going to mirror your what's in the external. You're not going to be able to handle the external because your internal is a mess, And the universe wants us to know that when we take the time to go inward, to tend to our emotions, to breathe, to process, to reflect, to meditate, all of that, our personal issues will reach resolution. Full moon in Cancer. The storm will pass. The answers will come. Solutions will find us. The universe will work magic and miracles and give us blessings. The universe has our back. But we also have to show up as our best self to allow it in. Because if we're too busy, running away from ourselves and our emotions and, the reality and truth, and too busy lashing out at other people, we're not going to be able to have clarity. We're not going to be able to see what's what. We're not going to be able to resolve things very well because we're too busy having the internal mess. Which is why we've been trying to work with the one boy, because he has internal things to deal with. He has some strong emotions. And, if we keep, pushing him away, it's not going to reach the resolution, It's not always easy dealing with it, but it's very necessary, and it will be life-changing. The hand, nurturing. The universe wants us to nurture ourselves. It wants us to fill up our cup. It wants us to bring peace into our lives, to, process our emotions, to help build ourselves up instead of tearing ourselves down, to stop doing all these harmful things to ourselves, whether that be unhealthy coping mechanisms, overeating, alcoholism, being a workaholic, being a shopaholic, and just like burying yourself in stuff, like gambling, all these things. It doesn't want us to do that. It doesn't want us to be in these toxic, unhealthy environments and relationships. It wants us to nurture ourselves. It wants us to create a space in our life where there's peace, where there's love, where there's joy, where there's fun, where we can support ourselves and give love and respect and kindness to ourselves, where we can be gentle with ourselves and allow ourselves to do our best and not beat ourselves up if we're struggling for being human, It wants us to nurture our inner child, because so many of us, our inner child, have been neglected, because when we are young, especially if you have parents like mine, like, you had to be the parent. Even if you're super young, like even as young as 4 years old and younger, changing your baby brother's diapers and having to be the adult in the situation and get people to calm down and, trying to keep the peace and walking on eggshells not to set people off and just going inward, and like, you didn't have the support. People were constantly letting you down and betraying you and, throwing you to the wolves, throwing you under the bus. And the universe wants you to take care of yourself now, to be the person that shows up for you that wasn't there before. You can be that person. You can be that person. You can sit with your emotions. You can show yourself love and compassion and kindness and respect and be there for yourself. Listen to the inner child. Listen to the emotions coming up, the trauma in your past. And yeah, it's not easy. Sometimes it really feels like it's going to pull you under, but don't run away from yourself, because you deserve better. And when we can actually sit with ourselves and go inward and nurture ourselves, the seahorse, we get so much great perspective. We can look at the bigger picture. We can see how the different threads connect and how a choice or a series of choices or factors will lead into others and could cause domino effects. If you're going around dishing out all this hate and mistrust and division and accusations and lashing out and, thinking the worst of other people, that's going to impact not only the other people that you're doing it to, but yourself. Because if you put that energy out, that's the kind of energy that comes back to you. And so it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're going around mistrusting everyone and telling yourself, like, no one can be trusted, they're all bad. Like, I had a friend who was on the phone with a friend they had met in New York, and she was going on and on and on about how all men are evil and they're the devil and they're monsters. And I looked at my friend after she got off the phone with the friend in New York, and I was like, doesn't she have a son? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, what? Like, she's effectively saying that of her son. She's like, yeah, she doesn't see it. And so that's the thing. Like, you could be doing so much harm, not only to other people, but yourself. Because who wants to think that about their children? We got to be careful. We got to process our emotions and not let them get to these boiling points where we start doing all this nastiness and hurt. We need to go inward and tend and to ourselves and just process the hurt, process the feelings, so we don't say and do things we regret. The squirrel preparation, yeah. The universe is preparing us for big things because things are changing. The old ways aren't going to work anymore. Like, if you look at, let's say the Epstein stuff, for instance, those in power, whether it be politicians, the media, whatever, they think that they can just, switch up the narrative, distract, and be like, everything's good, and, get us to forget about things. It's not going away. It's not. Like, more and more people from what I've seen are talking about it. It's like, no, we're not letting this go. No, you're not going to gaslight us. No, you're not going to lie to us. No, this is unacceptable. This isn't transparency. Like, it's preparing us because the old ways are dying. The old world is dying. The new one is being birthed. But we got to prepare for it because we can't go into this new world with our old ways, with our old habits, with our old mindsets. It's going to be a more prosperous world. It's this brand new chapter. Some people might, refer to it as a golden age, but whatever it is, like, we need to prepare for it, because if you look at this card, the sun is rising. It's rising on a new era. It's the dawn of a new era. It's the dawn of transformation, and we got to prepare for it. We can't be doing the same old, same old. We can't be struggling and trying to survive only. Like, we're meant to thrive. We're meant to enjoy life. We're meant for so much more, which is why the universe is saying, hey, look at the bigger picture. Hey, meditate and contemplate. Hey, nurture yourself. Get this perspective. Have the clarity. Get prepared, because it's going to set you up for greatness. And all the people who are just continuing to let their emotions run high, not that they're horrible people, not that, like, if you do the inner work, you're better than them, but it's like, they're going to have a rougher time. It's going to be a lot more turbulent, a lot more of a bumpy, rocky ride, and they're not going to like it. Sooner or later, they're going to have to learn the lesson, because the universe will keep giving us the lessons until we get it. But it might just start dishing out lessons in tough love, and that's not going to be fun for them. Because a butterfly evolution, we are evolving, not just individually, but as a collective. We are transcending the old and birthing this new. And it's going to be messy, because we need to build this new world. We need to create these new structures, these new foundations. The old world is crumbling. The old ways aren't working anymore. People are waking up to the gaslighting, to the deception, to the manipulation, to the smear campaigns and, slander and all that. Like, they're like, no, that's not adding up. I have discernment. I have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. I've done my research. This doesn't make sense. And we can't go back. It's like, once we've emerged from the chrysalis as the butterfly, we can't go back to being a caterpillar. Even if we might want to, even if we might be like, it was simpler back then, before I knew things and before, all this, because I could just, blindly go about things and it was fine. We can't go back. We can't undo the evolution. It's here. The energies are here. The, universe, the divine is all working out to its master plan, all to its divine timing, and there's no going back. Which is why the universe is saying, hey, prepare, because the evolution is here. We're in the midst of it, but it is here. So we have miracles. Miracles are everywhere. Keep the faith. Yeah, even when things look dire and you don't know how things are going to come together, and you don't know maybe where you're going to find the money to pay the bills, or you don't have all the answers, and, emotions are being hard, and, like, you're getting swept up in the tidal waves of it, and, like, it's a lot. I'm here with you guys. Like, I've had those days. I get it. But the universe wants you to know that it's here supporting you. It's nurturing you too. It's supporting you. It's giving you the perspective and the clarity. It's helping you prepare. It's helping you along the evolution. It is working magic and miracles on your behalf. It is blessing you. So trust the process. Even when things look shaky, even when, you're in the thick of the storm, you're like, how is it ever going to end? It will pass. Trust the process. Keep your hope and faith alive, because it's part of the preparation. Because if you don't believe it's possible, how are you going to allow it in? You won't know where to look. You won't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. You won't be open and receptive to it. You'll be closed off. She's like, no, it doesn't work for me. It can't work out like that. And part of it is that the universe is asking us to cleansing. Cleanse your mind and spirit. Remove negative energy. That is a big one. Get really, really mindful of who you're around, of what places, peoples, and things that are having your energy, that are impacting your energy, because energy is contagious. What kind of content are you consuming? Are you subscribing to it? What kind of music are you listening to? What kind of environment are you around? Are you like surrounded by a bunch of trash? Are you in an environment that just makes you miserable and want to cry? Like, what kind of like work environment do you have? You know, it really does impact our psyche. Granted, peace of mind and happiness are inside jobs. You can choose to find things to be grateful for and appreciate wherever you are, even if you're in the midst of the storm. It's not always easy, but if you look for the light, you can often find it. But if you look for the dark, that's all you'll ever see. And the universe is saying, hey, let's cleanse. Let's cleanse of these emotions. You know, like, really, like, there's a strong call for water, whether it be, you know, going out in the ocean or a lake or a river or a stream, or like going in the shower, like going to the pool. Like, just do something to help cleanse yourself. You can do smudging, you can, you know, use sage or Palo Santo, you can do those frequency cleansing, like you can do potentially a fast and a detox that way, or a digital detox. Like, plenty of ways to help cleanse yourself. Plenty of ways. So take the time to do it, because it's really going to set you up for success, and it's going to help allow in the evolution and the miracles. It's a key part of the preparation. And yeah, another way to cleanse and, you know, allow in the miracles and prepare is to get the right support. Seek support. You don't have to bear everything alone. And it could be in terms of other people, or it could be just turning to the universe, the divine, God, the angels, whatever label you would like to give it. The important thing is that you know you're not alone. It could be going to like self-help videos on YouTube, or it could be going to therapy, or it could be going to like, you know, a meetup with like self-help groups. Like if you were dealing with alcoholism, because I know that's a big thing in my family, that you could go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, there are so many different ways you can get support. Just know you don't have to do it all alone. It's not all on your shoulders. It's not. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to suffer. The universe wants to help carry your load. Divinity. Every moment is filled with divinity. Cherish it. And this is going back to the gratitude and appreciation, and, you know, Uncle Ira's quote of looking for the light and being able to find it. Because a lot of times, like, bad things happen and we're like, man, this sucks. Like what happened with the whole toxic group of the narcissist. I won't say that it was great and I enjoyed it and it was fun. It wasn't. It got really, really nasty and toxic and hurtful. And they were creating all these smear campaigns and doing slander and defamation, all these things. But I can also see how there was a quote-unquote perk or benefit or plus side, bright side, silver lining in the fact that I now am able to distinguish people's energies better. I now know more about narcissism. Like, I knew narcissism was a thing, but I didn't know about, you know, their tactics and signs and warnings and red flags and all that. And it's like, now I know, because I did research after finding out that the one person was an officially diagnosed narcissist. And looking back, it's like, yeah, that was obvious. Now that I have the information. And so, and another thing, because I was talking to my friend about it, it's like, yeah, it was super painful and nasty and hurtful and like all those things. But on the other side, I'm also proud of myself, and I have this knowing that, like, when push comes to shove, when people are truly being nasty and cruel and manipulative and deceptive and all these things, and they're gaslighting and invalidating, I still am myself. I still stand by my values. I don't play their games. I don't, you know, stoop down to the pettiness and going tit for tat and lashing out and, you know, retaliating. I still stood in kindness and love and respect and peace. and I did what was best for me. I have the power to walk away. I have the power to disengage, and I have the power to block. Like, that was something I didn't know if I could do before. Like, I am a gentle person. I want to forgive and give people grace and give people chances. Like, now I know that if, like, I absolutely need to do it, and it's unhealthy for me to stay in those situations, and like people are just being nasty to me, I can walk away. I don't have to, be a doormat and take it. I have the strength to see it through, to stand up for myself. And so it's like, it is a relief to know that I'm not gonna cave, because I have no judgment for people that do cave, because it's very hard to be in those situations. But I'm so proud of myself for staying in my integrity and staying true to my values and what's really important to me, And so, yeah, there can be horrible, horrible moments, and like, it can make you bawl your eyes out. I was there, but there's also divinity in it. The universe will use anything and everything for our benefit, but we got to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, to be open to the signs, to the messaging, to the perspective. And it can be hard, I know it, but we got to just do our best, guys. Yeah, at the end of the day, the universe wants us to be alive and to thrive. May you delight in vitality. How many of us actually enjoy our lives? How many of us actually savor being alive, savor the gift of life? To be able to be in this world, yes, it has its shadows, it has its darkness, it has its cruelness and coldness and brutality. Like, I'm not going to deny that. There are some horrible disasters and horrible, like, conflicts and wars, like, all this. Like, I get it. But at the same time, there is love. There is people being kind and nurturing and supportive. And, that was devastating with what happened in Texas. But at the same time, the communities are rallying, and all these good people are coming in to help. So yes, there is the darkness of the disaster and the death and the destruction that it brought. But there's also light. There's also kindness and decency and love and compassion and support. There are people coming to uplift the people who are in this dark hour. And so the universe really wants us to enjoy being alive, to thrive. Sometimes easier said than done. But yeah, the universe wants us to shine. May you be a lighthouse. And yeah, it's not always going to be easy. Yeah, sometimes you're going to want to bawl your eyes out, and you might even do it, and you might want to throw in the towel and just be like, it's so hard. But again, the universe wants you to know you're not alone, and you don't have to do it alone. You can have support, because you are the person you're meant to be. If the universe needed you or wanted you to be someone else, you would have been born that way. But the universe has plans for you. You have purpose. You are meant to be here. You are meant to shine your unique light. So keep shining. Enjoy your life. Thrive. Do what makes you feel alive. And yeah, you're resilient. May your soul weather the storms. You have resilience to you. And yeah, you may need to take a break. Yeah, you may need to go slow. And yeah, you may need to process and cry and grieve. And like, I'm there with you. There have been so many nights where I've cried myself to sleep. There have been so many days where I felt like my family and like pretty much everyone I would come into contact with would be happier if I wasn't here. Granted, the cats and my best friends since 6th grade, I knew that they would care. And like, once I started, babysitting, pet sitting, tutoring, house sitting, like especially with the family that I work close with and have been for about a decade now, like I know they would miss me. I know that would make a difference for them. But it's like, with so many people who've just used me like a tool and walked all over me and spat on me and treated me like I was less than dirt, like it really does feel like, people might be happier without me here. But like at the same time, I'll come across people who are just so happy to see me. Like when I just extend a kind hand, and like when I see people on the street, even though I don't have that much, like I still will give to them, because I would want them to do the return for me. Thankfully, I'm not on the streets. Yeah, I have a lot to do with my family. They're a piece of work, but it's like I have a roof over my head. I have access to food and clean water. I have a bed to go to sleep in. Like, yeah, it's hard being me. I have my challenges, my trials, my tribulations, but I'm also resilient. Like, it hasn't broken me yet. And boy, oh boy, it feels like it is tried. Like, I could tell you stories, guys, but I'm not gonna go into all that right now. That could be its own video in and of itself. Oh boy. So we have breathe. Inhale stardust, exhale magic, and just slow down and breathe, guys. Allow yourself to process. Yeah, emotions are running high, and they can feel so real. Like, when I've been in those really dark times, it feels so real and smothering, and like, I shouldn't even be here, but you're meant to be here. It's okay. Like, I see you. If you ever need someone to listen, talk to, hit me up. Like, I will be there for you. You don't have to do it alone. Like, we will get through the storms. I promise. Yeah. New horizons. Old ways won't open new doors. And that's the thing. That's why the universe is saying, hey, prepare. Go inward. Meditate. Contemplate. Process these things. Look at the bigger picture. Cleanse. And open up to the miracles. Because we're entering a new era. And the old ways aren't going to open these new doors. It's not going to work. The old ways are, metaphorically speaking, keys. And they opened the old doors, but they're not going to open the new doors. You need new keys for that, you know? And it can take some trial and error to figure it out. But yeah, new beginnings. From chaos comes calm. You can foster inner peace. You can prepare yourself. You can do the inner work, and you can thrive. You can shine. It's gonna come together. You're being prepared. Yeah, the universe truly wants you to shine. Radiate. Let your light shine through. You are meant to be here. The universe doesn't make accidents or mistakes. You are meant to be here. Even if you don't know what your purpose is yet, even if you haven't found your people yet, even if you haven't found all your passions yet, it's okay. It's about the journey. Keep doing your best to move forward. It's gonna come together. Just keep being yourself. Be authentic. Be genuine. Be real. Be vulnerable. You'll find your people. You'll find your people. I promise. And some days it's hard, but keep shining. Keep shining. Don't dim your light. So we have elephant. A long journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. Yeah. So even though this is hard, even though it can be super uncomfortable and unpleasant to process your emotions, to go inward, to deal with your traumas, to get prepared and nurture yourself, to have these new perspectives, you're going to be better for the end of it. You're going to let in all these miracles, all these blessings. You're going to be able to shine even brighter. And yeah, it can be long and hard and grueling. Yeah. Table hard work ahead. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Trust me, like, it was a lot to process all the stuff that went down with the toxic group and the narcissist, but I will say that I'm wiser and stronger and happier because of it, because I know myself and I'm staying true to myself, and I am not going to settle for less. I'm not going to dim my light. I'm not going to walk on eggshells around people who are just going to, drag me in the dirt and beat me up, like metaphorically speaking, because they used me as an emotional punching bag. They did all sorts of emotional blackmail. It was a hot mess. But the sun is shining. The sun is shining down on you because of all the effort and work you've been doing, because of all the processing and healing and cleansing and meditating and reflecting you've been doing. And it's going to lead to your happiness and well-being. The universe is literally shining so much love down on you and smiling upon you. Yeah, rainbow. The most difficult part of the situation is over. That's what the universe is saying. Hey, when you do all this, your personal issues, they're reaching resolution. The hardest part is over. You are evolving. You've done a lot of prep. You've done cleansing. You did put in the effort. You've nurtured yourself. You've opened up to new beginnings. You started learning new ways to open the new doors. And the universe has so much love for you. Heart, love, deep affection, and caring. And it's going to provide for you. It's going to have its divine, unconditional love work, magic, and miracles on your behalf. You will get the support you need. You will. I promise. And in the end, happiness. Happiness. And like the sun is really coming through strongly in this reading. And it just feels like so much happiness and peace and well-being and joy and being able to shine bright and just thrive. It could be a long journey. It could be very turbulent, but it's going to be worth it, guys. And I'm here with you along for the ride. So we can have each other's back. We can lift each other up. We can listen to each other and give a compassionate ear. You can be shoulders to cry on. It's going to be okay. I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day. Please take care, and I'll see you next time. Sending you so much love. Bye.